Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the December Board of Education meeting. Carrie, when you are ready, can you please call roll?
Mr. Baden? I apologize. Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Here.
Ms. McKnight?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Stamm?
I'm here.
If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Moving on, item number 2 is the appointment of the president per term, or pro tem, for next month's meeting. I would ask that any board members have a individual that they would, go ahead, Mike.
I would like to nominate Mr. Kyle Miller.
Okay. Second. Jeff seconds. Gary, can you call roll?
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stamm?
Yes.
Perfect. Item number B is the establish a January organizational meeting, which right now is assigned of January 13th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to accept that date? Board Member McKnight? And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Lindsay seconds. Gary, when you're ready.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stamm?
Yes.
And for the second month in a row, I'd like to change the agenda a little bit. We'd like to, at this time, we have a couple special presentations tonight, and we always want to give those students the opportunity to present or to be recognized at the beginning of the meeting, so they do not have to stick around if they're not able to. So we'd like to, first of all, I'd like to ask that we ask Mr. Snyder, Mrs. Graven, and the volleyball team, the state runner-up volleyball team, to please come forward.
Thank you, everyone. Tonight, I'm really thrilled to be here to recognize an awesome group of young ladies and coaches. For the second consecutive year, they have matched the most successful volleyball season in Anthony Wayne history, and that goes all the way back to about 1958. So these are your Ohio Division II state runner-ups. I'll make a few comments about this team, and then Coach Graven can step up and say a few words. This is a very special group of young ladies, some of the most athletic kids in our building, but also some of the just genuine, nicest, awesome kids in our building as well. At some point this year, they had a 22-match win streak. They have not lost a match in the Northern Lakes League in more than 2 years. They have just dominated the court and are, without question, one of our most successful programs, not only of this fall, but in school history. So a huge congratulations to Coach Graven, all of her coaches, and just one awesome group of kids. Coach, come on up.
Good evening. Well, first, thanks to the board for recognizing these wonderful women for all the success they've had back-to-back years. As Mr. Snyder said, we were back-to-back state runner-up, 3-time NLL champs, back-to-back district, regional, and like I said, state finalists. Finished the season 26-2, with the only 2 losses that we had were to both the state champions themselves, and couldn't be more proud of these girls. We have 5 seniors graduating this year, which is a lot for volleyball, and we've got 6 potentially returning players as well. 4 of our players are committed to playing volleyball at the next level, which is incredible to see at any level. And like Mr. Snyder said, we just broke a lot of records in the record books for Anthony Wayne volleyball, as well as in the state. We had 2 players that were back-to-back All-Ohio honors, which was the first time in 20 years that we've had players recognized at the state level. Lots of academic awards across the board, which is even more more impressive, but also collectively as a team, we had a GPA of 4.0 for the first quarter during the season collectively as a team. So A lot to be proud of. We want to thank the community for their community support for our state send-off, which was incredible. The text messages, the emails, the phone calls, and everyone that showed up in our state final match. We felt the love. It was an electric environment. We just want to just thank you all for making the trip down to Wright State and supporting our team who fought until the very end. So thanks again to everyone for recognizing this team tonight.
If you guys would like to stay, you're more than welcome to, but if not, just say congratulations. Thank you. So proud of you. I would have to share that it was an absolute joy to watch you compete throughout the year, and you did a great job. Congratulations. Now, at this time, we're going to switch over to the area of the arts, and I would ask Ruby Rapp, Lillian Albert, and then also Mrs. Flagg to come forward, please. These individuals were recognized for being a part of the Focus Show, and I'm going to have Mrs. Flagg share a little bit about that. That's very prestigious, and to have both of them have pieces that were entered into that is a great honor. So, here.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Kevin Herman and John Burke for supporting our arts program and highlighting these students' success tonight. The Focus Show is it was its 54th annual Northwest Ohio High School art exhibit, this year held at the Center for Visual Arts at the Toledo Museum of Art. And most of the Northwest Ohio schools enter their students' best work into the show, and they narrow it down to usually under 200 that fit into the exhibit. So it's a really good testament to their success in their arts. And there couldn't have been more two deserving people with artwork that I've seen them create all through their high school career, with Lillian in her freshman year in college and Ruby as a senior. So thank you.
And of all their work, we go back and forth, Mr. Burke and myself, determining like, okay, who should receive the superintendent's award, who should receive the principal's award. All we know is that, as far as we know from work, it was absolutely beautiful. Both individuals did great work, and so we're very proud of them both. But I would start with my superintendent's choice, and that's Ruby Rapp. She'll receive a certificate, and then also there's a monetary gift that goes along with that. And then on behalf of Mr. Burke, I would like to recognize Lillian Albert. Lillian's received the Principal's Choice Award, and we're very proud of her work as well.
I'd also like to recognize Mrs. Flagg, if you want to stand up again. If you guys have driven by on the east side of town, when you come into Waterville, there's a big sign that the Rotarians, as a Rotarian, that's the entrance sign. But if you're leaving Waterville, it now has a nice mural on the back side of it, of the bridge, and that was done by Mrs. Flagg and the art club, the senior art club. And I think it was, remind me, Ollie Bainfelt was the winning design. So we rewarded her with some money for that design as well, and the art students painted all that up right before it got really cold. But it was still kind of cold when they painted it, so thank you for them for that.
Nice.
And again, you guys are welcome to stay if you'd like, and if not, I know that Mr. Burke just came in, so he might want to say a few words to you as well.
All right, perfect. All right. Any other changes, Mr. Herman?
That is it. We can move
Perfect.
forward then.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Good cause. All right. Item number 3 on the agenda is the approval and signing of the Board of Education minutes from last month. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns of last month's? If not, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move to approve.
Jeff moves. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Lindsay seconds. Carrie, when you're ready.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Stum?
Yes.
All right. Item number 4 is our treasurer's report. Carrie?
Thank you. First item on the agenda is to approve the monthly financials from November 2025 as presented. And also, Ray did email the AW financials this month. Under item B is to approve the several donations we have listed. We are always very appreciative of these and what they offer for our students, so we are thankful for those. Under item C is a resolution of urgent necessity. This is for the chiller water line repair project at Waterville Primary. As you are aware, we've approved Train to do some work on our boiler chiller at a replacement at Waterville Primary. And this issue came about after they got in there and on site. It probably wouldn't have been something they could have found earlier. Neil's here and he can chime in if you have any particular questions, but we could have had Train do this work and Neil decided it was beneficial to see what some quotes would be. And Earl Mechanical was significantly cheaper, so we went with that, and due to the nature of the project, being it's already under contract, we can do it through urgent necessity so we don't hold the whole project up. So I don't know. Neil, did you want to add anything to that?
I don't know that I have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer questions. Basically, this is the line that was buried under the ground between the chiller and the building, so was not visibly able to be seen, and some suspect pressure testing determined that the line had some failure, so we needed to replace it.
And even though Train is doing the work, Earl Mechanical is doing work there as well. They're working with us on a lot of our mechanics at Waterville as well, so they know the projects.
Under item D is to approve the farm lease agreement with Keith and Michael Hannawald at a price of $160 per acre for calendar years 26, 27, and 28. And they are in attendance tonight if there are any questions, but I did share with you last month their full presentation, so just wanted to share that with you. And then under item E is to approve the request of advances. This is when people are paying their property taxes that are going to be due January 31st. The auditor, instead of us waiting until all payments are received, they will advance us money. However, it's required that the board send a certificate of that or a resolution of that, whatever they call it, that we are requesting that those advances be sent to us. So we'll get an advance probably mid-January, and then probably another advance in February, and we should receive our settlement by the end of February, early March. And that'll be for the January 31st payments, tax payments that come in for real estate taxes. And then the last item, which I did add late in the afternoon, and part of that was my fault, is another project that, we just have things going around here and everything's like urgent, so, but you remember the story or the issues that we were having with our fuel tanks and the water getting in there and just the age of all that. Well, we're finally to the point where we're ready to move forward and we're going to go with a state contract. So we will not be bidding going this route. It's just an option that we have, and Neil has done a lot of homework on this and a lot of work to get it to this point. But we do have a resolution before you tonight to approve the SPATCO Energy Solutions for the Fuel Center Replacement Project at a cost of $1 million, and this is a change from what I initially put in the agenda, is $1,038,483. And that does include bonding the project. Even though it's a state project, it's still in our best interest to have a bond on the project. So that was the difference of the amount that's actually in the agenda. There was some miscommunication between Neil and myself this afternoon, so the amount of $1,038,483 will be the cost of that. And I will let Neil answer any questions.
Yeah, Neil, can you tell us what we're getting for that?
Basically, we're replacing the entire fuel center. Currently, we have a 6,000-gallon gasoline, a 10,000-gallon diesel, and a 12,000-gallon diesel. They're all fiberglass, single wall, over 40 years old. Needless to say, they've exceeded their useful life. We, in the last 2 years, have spent some considerable amount of money cleaning them, trying to ensure that they are still leak tight, but it's time to replace them. And that's the tanks, the fuel pumps, the dispensers, the tank gauge monitoring, everything that related to fuel tanks. With that said, we don't know what we could get when we take the tanks out as far as soil and if we would have any contamination in that aspect, so we still may need to hold some contingencies back, but this is a full replacement for what we currently have.
And this has been something that we've needed for quite some time. There has been discussion about it at one time. We had discussed whether to move the tanks above ground or to have them with the underground doing the information and research that Neil has done. Truly believe that moving forward with the proposal is within our best interest.
And this comes out of permanent improvement funds?
Yes.
2 questions. What kind of lifespan are we looking on the new equipment? And is there going to be any interruption? Is this going to be work done during the summer, or can you tell us about that?
I don't have an exact life expectancy and warranty of the new ones. The new ones are a steel tank with a coating to prevent corrosion. They're corrosion resistant. They are double wall tanks, so it is the latest and greatest type of a product. As far as the scheduling and timing, that's why we brought it together, or brought it to the board now. There is about a 26 to 30 week lead time, so by getting it now and moving forward, we plan to do this over summer. We have spoke with our current fuel supplier vendor, and we have the ability, if need be, because of our district use plus also the village's use, of getting some above ground temporary tanks to get us through. But the project itself, the projection is a 3 to 4 weeks from start to finish. Thanks. You're welcome.
Then any other questions? I will give one shout out to Keith and Michael. I don't know where you guys are. You can just wave. Thank you guys so much for the presentation you guys put together. That was awesome. I mean, fantastic. Really was. So thank you guys for that. All right. And with that, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I will move.
All right. Do I have a second? Shelley seconds. Carrie, when you're ready.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stamm?
Yes.
All right. Item number 5, Superintendent's Education Report. Kevin?
Well, we've already covered a couple of those. The third item that I'd like to mention in front of you, each of you, there's a certificate. January is Board Recognition Month. We really are very fortunate to be able to all work together to try to move the district forward and to be able to make a meaningful difference actually for our students and so forth. And so I wanted to take this time to recognize you. I know this is Shelley's last meeting, so I wanted to be able to recognize her as well. And so as we approach January And Board Appreciation Month, we're getting a little head start on it, and just want to say thank you for all that you do, the time that you've committed into, making the board a strong group to work together and to be able to help move us forward. Next part, I have overnight trips. You'll notice the first one, you start looking, and you're like, oh, wait, that's November. It's November of next year that our band will be going to Orlando, Florida. They actually start working on those plans now and raising funds for it and so forth, so that's theirs. The next one is an annual trip that the band seniors take. They take they do a leadership retreat, and that's at Kalahari, so they're getting that in for this summer. Our girls lacrosse team, and we'll be going just basically for an overnight, and then we have our varsity softball team that's traveling to Orange Beach, Alabama over spring break, and they'll be playing some games there. And then we also have approximately 40 DECA students that will be traveling to Columbus to compete, and we'll look forward to hearing about their accomplishments when they return. In the educational agreements in C, you will notice the first one is with Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center. They are the ones that are in charge of the Liberty Education Center. When we have individuals that have shown a need to be in a different environment than our classrooms and our schools, this is one of the institutions that we use. The Liberty Education Center, again, is run by the Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center, and we do have several students there. So we have a student that is there now and will be there for the remainder of the year according to the IEP. And then we work very closely with Sunshine, and we have several Sunshine students that are students, and some of them require, due to medical needs, require nursing, special transportation, and so forth. And so we do contract with Sunshine to provide those services, and we work closely with them to make sure that we're able to serve the students from Sunshine as well. So that's through item C.
Any questions for Mr. Herman? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
Lindsay motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jeff seconds, Carrie, when you're ready.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes,
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stamm?
Yes.
All right, item number 6. Kevin, take it away.
I will share with you that next we have, and it looks like a whole list of resignations and retirements. I will share with you, I was going through each of them to try to, from the work that they do, and each has a story. I think all of them have been wonderful employees, but they've, either due to health reasons or different things, they are deciding to resign their positions. We are sorry to see that, and I know that several of them are probably sorry to see that as well, but sometimes life leads you in a different direction. I do want to take the time to recognize Cindy Kirchner, which she has been with us for a very long time. She is resigning her position because she does not have the amount of time in to retire, but she's worked in food service and done a great job for many years. Also, Robin Burns is an actual retirement. Robin has worked for the district for 25 years. So I want to, kind of recognize her, give her special recognition. And Tommy Bridges, he also is retiring, and he's worked in the district for 19 years, and I know that he's been a teacher that many students have really enjoyed having and have enjoyed his class. So want to give them special recognition. Under employment, you will see that we have some individuals that we're hiring for the remainder of the year in the cafeteria playground aid, and that could be due to retirements. We have a custodial position. If you notice, there was a resignation in that area. We have a position being filled. Midday bus driver, again, as one person vacates a position, we always have individuals that are willing to take those, and so we do I do want to recommend all of those individuals. The substitutes in C, you can see that we have several certified and a couple classified, and then one music tutor that we do hire the music tutors to work with the students within, that are, participate in band and so forth. In Part D, we have volunteers. Most of those volunteers are for different sports, and then we do have a couple individuals that are going to work in the buildings just to assist where needed. And then we have our supplemental contracts. Again, our supplemental contracts are coaching positions that we have with individuals that are not already employed in the district. Then we will go to our supplemental contracts, and our supplemental contracts are contracts that are given to people for supplemental positions, and these individuals are already employed with us, those three. And then the contract amendments in item G, those are for individuals that have needed to amend their contracts and take a deduct day for one reason or another, but they've been approved to do so. But that does cause us to have to take action on their contracts because it's different from what it was stated. So,
All right. Any further questions for Mr. Herman? If not, I need a motion to approve.
No
go ahead.
questions, but just, I think it's interesting to read through all those resignations and
Yeah.
retirements. And it says a lot about the administrators of each of those individuals, because almost everyone praises like the work environment and how they're sad to leave and how much the relationships they built. So to the administrators of those that were listed, like, I just applaud you, whoever, each of those individuals, because I think that's huge to have that sort of praise.
and it is,
in
and
the
I always
workplace.
enjoy reading those also,
Yeah.
because it does, and that's what I'm sharing when I share that they do not want to be leaving, but, life's, caused them one reason or another to decide to do something different, or that they, may not be working at, after this or whatever. But I do believe that the majority truly enjoyed their time here. And just as you said, I think it's a lot because of the environment of each of the buildings.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anybody else? If not, need a motion to approve?
One motion?
And a second.
A second?
Carrie, when you're ready.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hopkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes?
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stom?
Yes.
Moving to item number 7, Part A will be board comments. I know Board Member McKnight had one. I believe Jeff had. Dig-
I don't care.
If you want to, because I want to lead into the,
Yeah, into
Okay.
the next portion.
so.
Well, good evening. Since this is my last board meeting, I'd like to say some final words before I leave my elected position to those I'm honored to have served, to the community, to the faculty and staff, but most of all to the students, which is why we have boards in the first place. First of all, I want to thank Kevin Herman. Your support, your advice, your willingness to discuss, your openness, your passion for the district, thank you. To Carrie Johnson, your patience in explaining financial matters to me, questions I had, and I had a bunch of them. Your friendliness and availability, you were such a pleasure to work with. Thank you. To Kevin Pfefferly, who always answered my questions, your calm and honest demeanor, your expertise, thank you. To Chris Hamady, so many thank yous. Anthony Wayne is lucky to have you. I've lost count of the trips to your office for tech help, computer fixes, always willing to offer assistance. I'm so grateful. I've devoted most of my life to public education. 35 years of teaching, volunteering, now on a school board. Public education is indeed the foundation of our American democracy, and I've always been a staunch supporter. I'm a product of it, as are my daughters. Public schools are the hub of the community, our unifying connectivity. We saw that tonight. Academics, the arts, athletics, activities, a system that accepts and includes everyone, teaching the whole child. But lately, unfair and unwarranted attacks on public education, both statewide and at the federal level, especially under the current administration, alarm me because they're seeking to weaken public schools toward privatization. I urge you as concerned citizens, be vigilant, stay educated on these creeping dangers. First, illegal public school funding needs overhauling. Currently, state funds are decreasing for public schools while increasing for voucher schemes. This year alone, $1.2 billion went to private schools, draining public funds. Schools which don't have to admit all students, aren't accountable for their funds, and don't require testing or oversight like public schools do. Your taxes fund these schools which discriminate and segregate. Remember, every dollar, every voucher dollar, is one less dollar for the Anthony Wayne budget. Please educate yourself on this growing menace. Try to stop it. Hold on one second. Sorry. Secondly, increased religious intrusion into public schools during the school day is a clear violation of the separation of church and state. Again, I urge you to investigate what the Ohio legislature and the federal government are doing to slip religious ideologies into school curriculum and activities. Just because new laws give more accessibility to release time for religious instruction, it doesn't make it right. Groups like LifeWise disrupt the sanctity of the school day while creating a culture of exclusivity for those who choose not to attend. These indoctrinating political groups, masquerading as religion, should not be allowed to use our schools as mission fields. You as taxpayers pay for a full day of instruction. Why are you allowing this to expand? A lesser concern but growing is religious youth groups that bring highly charged emotions from their off-campus gatherings into classrooms and hallways, leading those not attending to feel left out. I don't think that this should be the climate of a school. I urge all parents to be watchful. Center your children. Fanaticism is rarely beneficial. Bathroom use, pronoun choice, and personal identity should never be emphasized over critical thinking, respect, and individual dignity. Finally, a fast emerging technology is shaping our lives, especially in education, and that's the realm of AI. What its implementation will do as to how schools evolve is critical. I look at how Anthony Wayne is addressing AI policy. It's a very proactive approach, and I'm optimistic. There are numerous benefits to AI: research, teacher prep, tutorial, individualized instruction, so much. But I also see the potential for over-reliance, misuse, and blurring of truth. I think it's great that Anthony Wayne is incorporating AI, especially in the tech areas. But an ethical component must always be added to the use of this very powerful tool. We can't stop it, but we must control it. Watch last week's segment of AI on 60 Minutes and see for yourself. While gathering with my family at my house over Thanksgiving, going through what I'm taking, what I'm not taking to Colorado, we came across some Anthony Wayne memorabilia, old yearbooks, pom-poms, some class notebooks. And so we talked about how fortunate we were to live in such an excellent school district and to be a part of this outstanding community. I will be truly sorry to leave this. I thank you all for allowing me to serve as a board member, and I will continue to wish the very best for continued Anthony Wayne success. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Baker?
Yes, along those same lines, I would like to keep everyone updated on the process of filling out our upcoming open board position created by Mrs. Knight's resignation. Since that's effective at the end of this year, we would like to thank Mrs. Knight for 2 years of service on the board. Last month, we met as a board to review and move forward with 4 candidates out of the 25, I'll say excellent community members that applied for this appointment. And we would sincerely like to thank those who stepped up and applied. We always encourage them to continue to stay involved, using their talents for the community and schools. Tonight, we'll be inviting each candidate to come forward, introduce themselves, and answer a few questions that we gave them during this public meeting time. Then, at the end of the regular business tonight, we will move into executive session, and we'll individually interview each candidate. We'll end executive session tonight with no further business after the meeting. And because of all the rules, procedures in Ohio that we do have to follow, we can't actually appoint anyone until the seat is actually vacant. But you also can't do it before 10 days after the seat is vacant, but you need to do it 30 days before the seat is vacant, or after that. So
After the
somewhere between 10 and 30 days, we have to do that. So a lot of rules to follow. So we will plan to have another executive session in the January meeting. On the January 13th will be our opening meeting for the school year, for the board year, I guess we'll call it. And this is where we would have the final discussion. We'd come back to the meeting, make a motion to appoint that person and vote to name that person in that January meeting. We do appreciate your time and patience in the process with all of us. Luckily, we've had this time to plan ahead and not just do it at the last minute within that 30-day window. So we've had time to walk through the process. We look forward to wrapping up the calendar year this year with our organizational meeting in January. So the board works on a January to January calendar year, while the school fiscally works on the July 1st start of the year through the end of the year. So it's a little confusing sometimes, but we kind of start fresh every year as a board, January 1st. So with that, I would like to call up our candidates tonight. And these were picked in a random order, so I'll just give you the list so you guys can prepare and not worry who's going to go. So first we'll have Troy Schalitz, then Amy Barrett, then Matt Culling, and then Katie Carollo. So if Troy would like to come forward, you have the podium, and thank you.
You guys really switched up on me. I was expecting alphabetical tonight, so that is not to my benefit, but thank you. Good evening. I want to start by thanking the board for the consideration of my application and allowing me to speak tonight. I'd also like to thank my wife and my friends for coming out to support me. I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about myself, my family, and experiences that have led me to tonight. I was born here in Toledo, Ohio, came home from the hospital to a house on Menorah Road, moved to Providence, Neapolis, Swanton about 5 years later, and now my wife and I preside on Yalberg Road, where we raise our 2 children. So if you're keeping track, that's a 4-road radius in about 26 years. I was fortunate enough to attend Anthony Wayne K through 12. During my time at Anthony Wayne, I was blessed to encounter men and women who would become essential influences throughout my life. A list too long to mention them all, but to name a few: Dr. Zemansky, Mr. Borchert, Mrs. Gelson, and so many others. These former educators and coaches planted seeds in me of work ethic and earnest learning. Both qualities have transcended the classroom and diffused into significant arenas in my life. This is why I returned to the district to raise my family, coach, and now run for Board of Education. Upon graduating Anthony Wayne in 2017, I attended Otterbein University to play basketball and study accounting and finance. After college, I immediately jumped into the public accounting world, working for a regional tax firm and auditing firm, GBQ. During my time there, I participated in both the tax and auditing practice for nonprofits as well as a variety of for-profit enterprises. My time in public positioned me well to put me eventually where I'm at today, Midwest Terminals. For the last 4 years, I've worked as a financial analyst for our CFO, and recently I was blessed to get promoted to the general manager of our trucking company, Ironville Rail and Transfer. My mission is to combine my enthusiasm I had as a student and player with the dedication and passion of coaching and fatherhood into the governance of Anthony Wayne. In my application, I addressed 3 primary issues that I want to expand upon tonight: financial stability and readiness, community trust and transparency, and an overall deterioration in Anthony Wayne's identity. Though these 3 issues are complex and not easily remedied, I'm determined to restore strength and wholeness to the collective. My time as an auditor and financial analyst brings a unique perspective to the board. Coupled with my operational knowledge, I plan to provide insight on how we can reorganize the allocation of our funding and reduce our growing expense profile. Financial soundness is achievable while maintaining the excellence we demand as a district. Most importantly, we're an educational institution, so naturally athletics, band, choir, and so many other extracurriculars are what bring us together as a community. It is between the fields of play, instruments, and art mediums that the diversity of Anthony Wayne unites in the pursuit of success and fellowship. I never want to see a day where extracurriculars are on a chopping block due to lack of funding. Second item, and arguably the most pressing, is the relationship between the board and our constituents. Servant leadership is the greatest privilege and responsibility the board has. This position is not to be self-enriching, but instead reflective of selflessness, and honor that flows from the top down. This role is not about me, but rather the world we want our children and families to exist in. I plan to be a board member who listens to and responds to the concerns of all shareholders within our district. I'd love to continue this board and administration's quest to bring open forums amongst the public so that we can hear the needs of those that we serve. The third and most foundational issue I'd like to address is the deterioration of our identity. I graduated less than 10 years ago and can confidently say our identity today has withered away from what it once was. In a culture that screams divisiveness and arrogance but balks at whispers of humility and self-control, we have the ability to redefine and distinguish ourselves from the rest. Students, staff, community members all fall on a vast spectrum of views, motivating our common interests surrounding the improvement of our schools. Therefore, Anthony Wayne does not exist to be some political background teaching young minds what to think. Rather, we exist as a safe zone, furthering creativity, collaboration, and teaching young minds how to think independently and critically. My former educators' voting habits did not confuse classroom dynamics or compromise their quality of their teaching. The discipline of their character, as well as the passion for public education, created an environment of intentional and uncompromised learning. I plan to lead this by example. Wrapping up, I want our district to be one that is defined by togetherness and achievement by proxy. I want the district's success to be evident in the character of students we put out into the world, especially because the reflect of them is what we pour into them. Parents, teachers, coaches, and community members all have an obligation to raise our next generation of leaders and innovators. Rather than focusing solely on college engagement numbers, I want to focus on our students' engagement in the workforce 3, 5, 10 years out of high school. College may be a great choice for some, but I never want our students to think that's the only option. I'd love to leverage my extensive business network to expose our students to alternative career options post-graduation. I genuinely thank you for your time and appreciate your consideration. God bless.
Good evening. And thank you for the board for the opportunity for us to introduce ourselves. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you to my family, especially my husband, who supports me, and our oldest daughter that's here tonight. For those of you that I've not met or do not know me, my name is Amy Barrett. My husband and I have been a member of this community for 34 years, and I've been involved in the district for 28 of those 34 years. We've raised 4 children in the district. All have graduated from Anthony Wayne. Our oldest son is a coach in the district, and our oldest daughter is employed in the district. We also have 5 grandchildren, and our oldest grandchild has entered kindergarten this year, and proudly announced that Mr. Herman is the superintendent, and he does a nice job. So, in case Kevin was ever worried, he's got the approval of a 5-year-old. I am also a self-employed grant writer, and I love hanging out with my family, and especially our grandbabies. In my free time, for those of you who try to call me during the day and ask me, I'm usually playing pickleball if I'm not grant writing. I am very passionate, for those of you that know me, about our community and our schools, and I believe that my passions experience will positively contribute to the work of the board and the district and the community. My community involvement goes back many years. Started as a volunteer basketball coach. I was a classroom volunteer, a parent, organization, president, vice president, treasurer. I substituted in the district for 6 years. I've served as the executive director for the Awake Community Coalition, where I've helped to coordinate the district's drug prevention education using evidence-based practices, and actually worked many years with Mr. Officer Baker back there, educating our children around those issues. I believe my relationships with these organizations, as serving as Awake Community Coalition, and most recently, I'm a volunteer coordinator for Neighborhood Bridges, which helps bridge the gap for our students who live in either traumatic situations or in poverty, so they can be successful in school in our communities. And I believe those relationships with those organizations have helped me with my relationship in the school and the district and the community. Speaking about our school board, and one of the most important responsibilities I believe that we have is to provide support and guidance with the district's policies and vision to ensure that all students in the Anthony Wayne School District receive a high-quality education with opportunities to learn, grow, and thrive. I believe that one of the reasons the Anthony Wayne School District has been and continues to be successful is its people. In the areas that I've been involved with the district, I have witnessed firsthand teachers, staff, and administrators doing their best to create an environment where every student, regardless of background, ability, or circumstances, has the support, resources, and opportunities needed to reach their full potential. I also believe that our successes go beyond test scores. Yes, success means high academic achievement. It also includes helping students to develop life skills, fosters emotional well-being, and having measures in place to ensure that all students feel safe and valued while preparing them for the life after graduation. Whether that path leads to college, technical training, the military, or the workforce. For the district as a whole, I believe success means maintaining strong community trust, attracting and retaining excellent educators like we have today, using resources responsibly, and continually improving based on our students' needs and data. We live in an awesome community, for those of you who don't know it, with an amazing school district. Ultimately, my reason for wanting to fill this role remains as it was when I ran for election in 2023, to continue to support the efforts of our students, staff, and administrators, and parents so that we can continue to be a district of excellence, where students are engaged, families are supported, and graduates leave prepared to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Calling, and I am joined in attendance tonight by my wife, Alyssa. We, along with our 2 young children, have been proud members of the Anthony Wayne community since relocating here in 2019. First, I want to thank the board, not just for the opportunity to speak tonight, but for the thoughtful and principled process that you followed in filling this upcoming vacancy. I understand the weight of the decision before you and respect the care in which you've approached it. I'd also like to acknowledge everyone in attendance tonight and those community members listening in via the live stream. While this is a board appointment, the role itself is one of public trust intended to serve students, their parents, the faculty, and the broader community. The responsibility is not one that I take lightly. My decision to apply is simple. I want to serve, not out of political ambitions, but out of a genuine care for our children and the long-term strength and financial health of our district. I believe every child deserves a safe, supportive, exceptional public education. I want to help advance and protect that promise. Professionally, I work as an internal audit director for a publicly traded manufacturing organization. I lead a global team responsible for governance and compliance, risk management, financial oversight, and operational excellence. Before this, I've spent several years of my career serving small and medium-sized businesses right here in the Toledo region, helping them to grow through accounting and consulting services. I believe this global experience and local perspective helps shape how I approach complex issues with balance, accountability, and professionalism. I'm also a certified public accountant, and I am bound by the Ohio Board of Accountancy's Code of Ethical Conduct. Transparency, integrity, objectivity, accountability, these are not just technical terms that I've had to learn in a textbook. These are personal values that I've lived in my life and through my career. And they would guide how I would show up for this community in a board capacity. Throughout my career, I've also had the privilege to travel significantly, both internationally and across the United States. These experiences have exposed me to several different communities and cultures, while simultaneously reinforcing how fortunate I feel to be raising a family right here in Anthony Wayne. A community that is built on safety, shared values, strong families is rare, and it is a privilege, and I believe it's one worth protecting. I view board service as just one of many ways we can do that. I'd also like to take just a moment to acknowledge my wife, Alyssa's quiet but meaningful contributions to this community. Over the past 5 years, she's owned and operated an in-home daycare, serving exclusively Anthony Wayne community members. She's done this at rates significantly below national and regional averages because her motivation was not primarily profit, it was to build relationships, serve our community, and give parents relief, as everyone deserves a safe, loving care for their children. This quiet service has deeply shaped our family's connection to this community, and it's part of what motivates me to give back through board service. Of course, I recognize that public education here and across the state faces complex challenges. From increasing enrollment to increasing expectations around fiscal transparency and responsibility, the landscape is evolving. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I do believe that my background equips me to ask the right questions, to be engaged, to listen openly, and to work constructively. If I'm selected, I will approach this role just like I do with everything else in my life, with energy, passion, humility, and a genuine commitment to collaboration. I'm eager to learn more from each of you in the conversations ahead. I look forward to the opportunity to connect with our broader Anthony Wayne community. And I thank you again for your time, your consideration, and most of all, your service to this district. Thank you.
All right, you guys made it to the last one. I've practiced, I've done 6 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep it at 5, so if I talk fast, I apologize. I wanna start out by thanking you guys. The 25 candidates were, from what I could tell in the free press, all were really good, qualified candidates, so thank you for looking through them. I really appreciate you choosing me as one of the top 4. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Katie Corello. I've been part of the Anthony Wayne community for about 15 years. I have 3 kids in 3 different buildings right now. We just made it through Monclova. I just told Mrs. Murray I'm sad that we aren't there anymore because I did really enjoy my time there. So I currently have 1 in high school, which is hard to believe. He's a freshman. I have 1 in junior high, and I have 1 in middle school. So throughout their time in the district, I've been impressed with the caliber of teaching and the education they are receiving. So the school board, it sounds like they're going to kind of evaluate each candidate on 5 main criteria. So I'm going to break this down into each one. So 1, relevant experience, 2, vision and goals, 3, temperament and collaboration, 4, transparency and engagement, and then lastly, motivation. So first, relevant experience. So my connection to Anthony Wayne students extends throughout the community. I currently serve as one of the 9 voting members of the Anthony Wayne Youth Foundation. The foundation has been working since 2006 to provide sports to students in and around the district. As part of the board, we guide the organization's policies, procedures, strategic direction, and to ensure we're carrying out the mission of the foundation. We don't manage the day-to-day sports, so that's obviously very similar to what a school board does. The foundation's a 501c3 organization. We receive no tax dollars, so we need to be extremely diligent in how we spend that money that's brought in through the sports. So we have goals to improve our facilities. We're strategizing ways through fundraising, through sponsorships, other initiatives to help reach those goals. So this experience is analogous to the Anthony Wayne School Board in many ways, from fiscal responsibility to being good stewards of the community while maximizing the positive impact we have on our area youth. The structure of the Youth Foundation also has individual boards for each partner activity and sport. So in addition to being part of the larger board, I am also the current president of our flag football program. In that role, I oversaw the entire program. We have 233 kids, and one of my goals was really focus on strengthening the communication between parents and coaches, and I think we had a great season. I was really happy with how it went. I think everybody had fun. So we're also currently restructuring our baseball and softball program, and we're in the early stages of this restructure, but I volunteered to be a coordinator for rec baseball because I think it can be better run, so of course I'm going to volunteer to do that as well. Similarly, they this year just expanded their 9th through 12th grade basketball program. Never had it before, really excited to bring this sport and opportunity to a larger group of students. And so they were like, hey, we've got 40 kids, we do not have enough coaches, who wants to coach? Nobody wanted to coach, so I'm like, okay, I'll coach. Mind you, I've never played basketball. I don't know anything about basketball, nothing. But I do know, especially from my flag football experience, how how difficult it is to get students, or how difficult it is to get parents to volunteer. And I wanted to make sure these students had this ability. So I stepped up, we did it. My head coach also knows nothing about basketball, so it was a fun first practice when we got these kids. We're like, we don't know anything about basketball, but we're gonna have fun. I will tell you, so I just came from our third practice. So we practiced at Waterville's from 4:30 to 6 o'clock on Mondays. I came right from there to here, and these kids have motivated me even more to want this position. They are the greatest group of kids. Like, now, you picture high school boys, and they want to win, and they're competitive, and they have these two coaches up there saying, we know nothing about basketball. They were the most respectful group. Like, I can't say enough about the parents who raised these kids. They were so respectful. They're giving us fist bumps after, and thanks, coach, and thanks for coming. And it's so rewarding, and it just makes me want to do right by them. And it's shown me how much kids thrive when adults in their lives show up for them, support each other, and work together. I think that is a great thing. Professionally, I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs at the University of Toledo College of Law. Before that role, I was the Director of our Office of Professional Development within the College of Law. So I have a lot of experience kind of guiding and shaping kids, doing the right thing, being professionals, making sure that they're kind of putting their best selves out there, right? So as Assistant Dean, I meet with students daily. I'm extremely aware of the barriers that students face as they pursue their education. I've also, University of Toledo, for those of you who don't know, also kind of struggling financially. So I am very, very well aware of the realities of just doing more with less, but not compromising the high quality academic and student services. I'm also a proud product of Toledo Public Schools. I went through Toledo Public Schools. So I went to Glenna Fieldbach, Burndale, and Bowser. So I really, really believe in public education, and my belief in the value of strong, accessible public education is deeply, deeply personal, and I feel very strongly that we're committed to providing this high education at Anthony Wayne as well. So in addition to my work in higher education, I'll bring a legal background that I believe would be an asset to the board. I graduated from the University of Toledo College of Law in 2007, and I spent about 5 years practicing insurance defense litigation. That experience trained me to read and interpret policy carefully, to identify gaps, ambiguities, and to anticipate unintended consequences. So all skills that directly translate to reviewing board policies, contracts, and district decisions that can carry a long-term impact. Secondly, vision and goals. So first, we have to pass a levy. We need that money. Our classrooms, our programs, our staff, they rely on stable funding, and the community needs clear, transparent communication about what is at stake and why investment in public education matters. So I think my professional experience and my community experience kind of uniquely position me to help build that trust and understanding. Second, I want to help Anthony Wayne navigate a political climate that's become increasingly hostile and unpredictable for public schools specifically. So today, boards balance the community values, student needs, legal obligations, intense public pressures. So my career, kind of what I do every single day, is I have to stay steady in really difficult moments. I listen to differences and try to make decisions that are grounded in facts, integrity, and the long-term well-being of our students. So that brings me to criteria 3 and 4. We're going to do those together to save time. So temperament, collaboration, transparency, engagement. Across all these priorities, my approach is really simple. I listen, I collaborate openly, I'm going to ask good questions, I'm going to be curious, and I'm always going to keep students at the center of every decision that I make. I do this every single day in my role as Dean of Students. I'm always looking at what's best for the student. That is my number one priority. That is what I do at the Youth Foundation. It is what I do in my professional job. That is my priority. I believe in respectful dialogue and collaboration. The more ideas you have that you can bring to the table, the better. I'm not going to address, again, for time purposes, motivation, number 5, separately. I hope you can see kind of through my experience and just kind of what I'm doing and what I bring to the table, why I'm motivated to do this. Our kids deserve adults in their lives to be dedicated and doing what's best for them and making sure that that is the sole focus, and that's what I pledge to do. The tone we set as board members and as community members and as adults, it permeates through the district. It's time to change the tone, raise the bar, and do right by our kids. Anthony Wayne is a remarkable district. Again, I've got 3 kids through there. I've been impressed along the way. Our students are bright, they're capable, they're respectful. Our teachers are dedicated, and our families are super, super invested. So thank everybody that came out and everybody who's watching here today. I know our families really, really care about the district and their students. So I would be honored to help ensure that we continue moving forward with the strength, stability, a clear commitment to public education. I think I personally am uniquely situated to do that with my legal background, my background in education, and my current position. So again, just thank you for your time and the opportunity to kind of say my piece today, and I look forward to Talking to you in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you to the four members. Thank you. Sorry, I'll repeat that since my microphone wasn't on. Thank you to the four members for coming up and speaking. Next, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is recognition of visitors. We have 2. First one will be Sarah Fournier, when you are ready.
Just another round of thanks too for those 4 people to come up and talk. I think you can see the caliber of people we have applying, and hopefully that you've picked, you can agree that we've got a hard choice to make just to continue forward. But I think we can't go wrong with any of these guys. So,
Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sarah Fournier from White House. Good evening, President Miller, board members, district administration. It's great to be here tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I want to start by acknowledging and thanking Ms. McKnight for her service to the district, our teachers, and our students. She brought deep knowledge of public education, did her homework on legislation affecting Ohio schools, and consistently showed up informed. She asked thoughtful questions, sought clarity, and represented the nearly 4,000 voters who trusted her to speak for them. I wish you well in this next chapter. Thank you as well to the 25 applicants who stepped forward for the vacancy and to the 4 finalists we heard from tonight. It reflects well on our community that so many were willing to serve and care deeply about our district, and I appreciate that the board allowed the public to hear directly from you all this evening. I do want to thank Ms. Hopkmeyer and other board members who sought input and gathered community feedback about the selection process. That effort matters. Also, thank you, Mr. Baden, for the update this evening. There are clearly a lot of policies that need to be considered and followed through this process, so thank you for making sure that happens. I hope we build on that communication in making the structure of decision-making clearer between now and January when the board member is selected. In many professional selection processes, especially when decisions rest with a small group of individuals, expectations and scoring methods are shared early so applicants and observers know how decisions will be reached. This often includes a rubric with defined scoring, weighting, and clear questions alignment to areas being evaluated. With 25 qualified applicants, it would have been helpful for the community and probably for those candidates to understand these details and how finalists were ultimately selected. If a scoring framework exists for the interviews held this evening or for the vote in January, it would be helpful if you would share that publicly. A few items that would support clarity. Which competencies from the criteria that you released are being scored? Which questions are being asked this evening and how do they align to that criteria? How will your feedback and scoring for candidates this evening be documented and compared consistently? These safeguards strengthen the integrity of the process, they clarify decision-making, build trust, and protect the board from claims of inconsistency or preferential selection. Families want confidence that decisions about curriculum, policy, and budgeting are based on the needs of all students rather than any alignment or affiliation. We also recognize that the interviews tonight will be brief, around 15 minutes each. 15 minutes for a role influencing a roughly $50 million annual budget, long-term planning, and district policy is a limited window. More detail on how these candidates will be compared would show that the evaluation is careful and consistent, even given the limited time frame this evening. This appointment will shape decisions that affect our schools, educators, and students. Although this is a nonpartisan seat, board members hold personal and political views publicly. That is your right, but this responsibility is larger than alignment. It requires selecting someone who is qualified, capable, and willing to think independently and approach conversations with curiosity. Different perspectives are not a weakness, they strengthen decision-making. When we sit with friends or neighbors who see things differently, we often walk away with more context, more empathy, and a better understanding of the whole picture. The same is true here as the board faces complex decisions and current state legislation that may draw strong and differing opinions from the community. We've all seen education legislation that's moving through the State House right now. Some decisions will be mandated, but others will come to you as options through the Neola guidance that you explained in a previous meeting. In those moments, this community deserves representation and commitment to careful conversations and evaluation. Not every family here is right or left-leaning, religious or secular. Most fall somewhere in the middle on these issues, and when difficult topics arise, COVID procedures, bathroom policies, religious release time, curriculum. People simply want to know that decisions reflect multiple perspectives and not just one. So I ask, please show this community that process matters, share how the candidates will be evaluated, apply a consistent process, and choose the candidate whose qualifications most fully serve the students of Anthony Wayne. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Sarah. And then next, I'm going to get it this time, I promise. Roy Caliso. Did I get it?
Good enough.
It's usually Calico, so I'm improving.
Yeah, it's actually Colosso, but people,
Ah,
there's a variation.
I thought this time I was going to get it. Sorry, Roy.
That's all right. Good evening. My name is Roy Colosso, and I'm the parent of a student in the Anthony Wayne School District. I would like to begin by thanking Superintendent Herman, Dr. Pfefferly, and the school board for serving our school district and our community. As a parent, I'd like to give a special shout out to the faculty, staff, and administrators who once again have demonstrated exemplary teaching, motivation, and leadership skills, resulting in Anthony Wayne being ranked 30th out of 607 school districts in Ohio with a performance index score of 94.9%. Today, I'm here to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020 and 21, the school board implemented certain health and safety protocols recommended by the medical experts at the CDC and the NIH. These included masking, hybrid learning, and online instruction when necessary. The school board made these decisions based on the recommendations of the experts in the Lucas County Health Department, which was responsible for monitoring daily infection rates, hospitalizations, and hospital capacity. As the rate of infections and hospitalizations increased, more stringent protocols were implemented, mainly to protect our area hospitals and medical infrastructure from collapse, but also to prevent unnecessary new infections. At the time, there was a dramatic backlash against these measures from some area residents, mostly driven by their personal or political opinions. When the issue of district employees' health was raised, this group insisted that schools be declared essential services, which would force teachers, staff, and employees to work irrespective of local health warnings. The demand that just because school employees are paid by taxpayers and so must risk their lives for the community wasn't just ludicrous, it was disrespectful and callous. Most of these denialists claim that COVID was nothing more than a bad cold. So let me tell you about my experience. Exactly 5 years ago this week, I contracted COVID-19. What began as the worst body ache and weakness I have ever experienced slowly deteriorated into a hell from which I am lucky to be alive. After an initial visit to the ER, I returned 2 days later with a pulse ox of 72. I was immediately admitted to the COVID ward at Toledo Hospital and eventually given antiviral treatment. However, the damage to my lungs was too severe. I was transferred to the ICU, where I was intubated on Christmas Day and placed in a medically induced coma, breathing on a ventilator. I had to be proned twice and then intentionally paralyzed to force my lungs to rest and recover. As a result of the paralysis and sedatives, I remained comatose for over a week. After 3 weeks, I was extubated and placed on a trach as the doctors waited to see if my lungs and breathing would recover. Thanks to evolving medicine and their training, expertise, and persistence, my intensivist care team were able to save my life, and after 18 days in rehab, I returned home to my family. So no, COVID wasn't just a bad cold, and my family still bears the trauma of that experience. Have you had to face the reality that you're literally dying, but you have to lie to your 5-year-old that you'll be home soon? I have. Have you watched a normally talkative and noisy hospital floor unit go eerily silent as they watch you be transferred to the ICU because they know your chances of survival just dropped? I have. And when I get up caught up in day-to-day life and temporarily forget what facing death was like, I have a PICC scar in my arm, a G-tube scar in my abdomen, and a trach scar in my neck to remind me. The relevant point I want to make is this. Yes, we all bring our own experiences, opinions, and worldview to every issue we face. But I'm grateful that the 2020 Anthony Wayne School Board, led by President Pam Brent, Dr. Fritz, and Mr. Herman, set aside their personal opinions, political views, and egos, and did the right thing by relying on the experts trained to make those decisions, and withstood the wave of anti-science attacks on the district. And therein lies a gentle reminder to the current board, future board members, and the Anthony Wayne community, especially as we are now facing a new wave of religious and political interference in the board and district. You are elected to champion and advance the educational interests of all our children based on the latest laws, the best recommendations of trained experts, and empirically validated research where available, not to implement your personal ideology, your politicians' talking points, or your pastors' proclamations. The school board and our school buildings aren't a proving ground for anyone's political ambitions or spiritual redemption. If you can't make that distinction, then you should skip the school board and run for political office instead, where one can claim to be an expert in anything and everything. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Just as the eyes of history are always upon us, so will be its judgment." Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. All right, that will move us to item number 9 on our agenda, which would be the executive session for the consideration of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. Do I have a motion? Shelley moves. Do I have a second? I'll second. And Mike seconds. Again, we will not have any board action after this executive session, so everyone is free to go except for the 4 of you who spoke. Carrie, keep call roll.
Mr. Baden?
Yes.
Mrs. Hapkemeyer?
Yes.
Ms. McKnight?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Stam?
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it.